Greetings, my name is Dave Knowles, and I welcome you to Huntsville's Technology Channel. Today I have the privilege of interviewing Daryl Schmidt and Ken Grant. They are members of PMI NAC. What does that stand for, Ken?
That's Program Management Institute North Alabama chapter.
And Daryl, can you explain to me what this wonderful professional association does here in Madison County?
We have a chapter here in Huntsville as part of the Project Management Institute Global that supports our professionals in this area who are interested in either becoming a project manager or improving their skills as project management. It generally supports that profession.
All right, I understand. And now both of you gentlemen are instructors in an upcoming class that PMI will be hosting. What are your credentials to be instructors?
Well, I joined PMI NAC in 2005. I took my project management professional exam in July of 2005. And very soon after that, I signed on to become a volunteer instructor on the PMP exam prep team that our local chapter has. We've taught at UAH, we've taught at Calhoun, we've taught at Intergraph, we've taught at BAE, Booz Allen Hamilton, and many, many other venues in the community, and are anxious to do some more of that.
Wonderful. Daryl, what are your credentials as an instructor?
Very similar. I have the PMP certification. I took my exam 3 years ago. And similar to Ken, is right afterwards, I had selfish reasons. I wanted to reinforce what I learned by trying to teach the certification exam prep course. But it's more than those selfish reasons. It's instructors, all of our instructors who have a certification that are teaching and have that experience of what it was like to go through that certification exam and pass it. So that's what makes our instructors good. They all have certifications. They're all local instructors, members of the chapter, and they have the interest of the students to learn and to succeed at passing the exam.
Yes. At this point, I think we should wind back just a step because we've talked extensively about the PMP certification. What is the PMP certification? Who gets it? Why would I want it? Could you explain to me just briefly?
There are several levels of certification that PMI has. The Program Management Professional is the first that they had, and that's the one we both have and trained in. And that is for project managers and to give them a global credential that people all over the world recognize. Right now, you can go to Bahrain, you can go to Singapore, wherever there are chapters of PMI. If you say you're a PMP, they know that you at least have the basics and understand the terminologies of project management, and you stand a pretty good chance of being able to communicate with other project managers in those areas.
Good. So now we've established that this wonderful nonprofit professional organization has this very exciting credential program. First step is PMP. Now we're gathered together here to talk about the PMBOK guide and a class that the two of you are teaching in. What is this PMBOK you keep talking about?
PMBOK is Project Management Body of Knowledge, and essentially it's the policies and procedures that PMI have put together with experts from around the world, and it's broken down into process areas and processes within those. And you start with initiating a project all the way through closing a project out. So the PMBOK, or body of knowledge, is there to guide us as we go through, and the test that you take is based on what's in there.
Okay. And so someone looking to advance their career as a project manager would start here.
Yes.
Correct. I would add to the fact that going through a course like this, not only a seasoned project manager, but anyone who's wanting to learn a little bit about project management will learn about some processes, some tools and techniques, as well as prepare to take one of the exams.
Okay. And will this course in and of itself make me ready to take the PMP test?
If I may.
Yeah, please.
Actually, this course is designed to provide the information that's in the PMBOK guide. And that alone is what an individual would need if they choose to take one of the certificates that PMI offers. One of them is called a Certified Associate in Project Management. So sitting through this course helps an individual prepare because it presents all of the various information and explains the information that's in the PMBOK guide. Further studies are really necessary after this course to really be prepared to take the PMP exam.
Okay.
There's a higher level than the PMP as well, and that's the Program Management Professional, the PGMP. And I think we've only got 2 members of our chapter that have attained that. And it takes a lot more study and a lot more experience to qualify for the test and to pass it. I've not gone there. I'm considering it. I'll have to consider that hard.
Well, and serving as an instructor, as Darrell just pointed out, is a great way to keep your skills sharp and prepare you for those future tests. What will be some of the content that folks would be exposed to at the PMBOK training exercise?
You want to start that?
Sure. Actually, we're calling this course Understanding the PMBOK Guide. And this course is going to present and explain many of the concepts, the terms, terminology, definitions, and it's going to go through all the various processes which are felt to be the best practices for project managers. Going to explain those to the point that the student understands what's in that PMBOK guide. 42 processes to be exact, all of which has numerous inputs and outputs. You do something, you produce something, right? Outputs. There are many tools, many tools and techniques which are thought to be part of best practices. So this course is going to teach that to the student, leaving the student with the understanding that he has to commit a lot of this to memory to go take the test.
Okay. When and where will this class be taught?
It's being taught at the facilities over at Cobham, over on Old Madison Pike. And I know it's in July, and I know the class I'm teaching is on the 14th. I'm not sure what day it starts.
Basically, it's Tuesdays and Thursdays, starting on the 12th. Then there will be, after through the 3 weeks, there will be 2 Saturdays. Those classes are 9 in the morning.
And I'm thinking that it's 5:30 to 8:30 on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
That's correct.
And then 9:30 to 1 or something like
9
that.
to 12.
9 to 12.
All the sessions are
Okay,
3 hours
3 hours
long.
Got it.
And folks who would want to see that information could either go to the PMI website, which is,
NorthAlabamaPMI.org.
thank you, or we will also have that information across the screen of this presentation later on. Gentlemen, now, it's my understanding that I can pay to go to a professional school to have these classes, but perhaps there are advantages for having local PMI instructors who are involved in the chapter to teach these courses. What might be some of those advantages?
Well, I think the first most logical, obvious answer is it's cheaper. Some of these courses you take are upwards of $2,500 to $5,000. And you won't spend that even if you go through the program we do at UAH, which is a little more pricey than some of ours. It's a lot less than that. So you've got the cost savings. I think the other thing is you're dealing with instructors who know the community. We work here. We know how this community works. A lot of what we do in our classes is to elaborate on the actual content with anecdotes. Here's how this has worked for me in my processes.
Correct.
Yeah.
And emphasize the live aspect of having instructors there in the class. We all know that communication is done more so than just words. We know there's a big percentage of communication that's through the inflection in your voice, your facial expressions, your hand gestures. And when it comes to questions and answers, answers can be conveyed a lot better with live instructors.
And Darrell, I believe your point is they can either take it live or they could go online, but wouldn't it be better to do it live?
Correct.
Gentlemen, it's my understanding that the PMP certification test is going to be changing later this year. Is there, how do I say this? Should we hurry up and get involved in this process now before the changes occur?
Yeah, I think that's worthwhile. I will tell you that in the 6 years that I've been a PMP, the test has changed 3 times. And it will change again.
So it's not unusual for it to be updated?
Not particularly unusual for it to be updated.
It's a sign of a good professional credential, isn't it?
That's right. This one is a little different in that normally they change the test when the PMBOK changes. This is one where the PMBOK is not changing, but they're changing the test because of lessons learned they have over the last, I guess, 2 years of giving this test. I would tell you that if you've had training up till now, it's better to go ahead and take the test because we've focused our training to you on what's in the exam, how to pass the exam. None of us, I think, are completely familiar with what the new test is going to look like. So after August, our training will be geared to what the new test is doing as opposed to the old test. So any training you get right now means you should probably jump on the old test as soon as you can.
Mm-hmm.
Is that fair?
Yes, that is fair. I've run across the number of 30% of the questions that are currently on the exam are going to be modified significantly, some of them even removed and replaced with new questions.
Yeah.
None of us have seen those questions before.
Mm-hmm.
So as often in testing, there's a great benefit in dealing with known local instructors in a fine professional organization. Well, I think we've almost covered everything. Is there anything else you would like to add?
I'll just add a personal note. Teaching these classes has been a great personal reward for me. And I really like when I get emails back from students saying, I passed the test, and we've had a lot of those experiences. And particularly if they say something that I did helped them pass that test. It really does help us out a lot. I enjoy doing it, and I think that all the instructors do.
I agree with that. But one important note for us not to leave without saying is if someone is interested in registering, they should go to the North Alabama chapter's website, which is simply northalabamapmi.org. Go to that web page, and on the left side there's a link called registration. Click on that, and you can register for the class. There's a number of activities. Pick out the one called Understanding the PMBOK Guide, and of course they'll have to fill in some personal information. They can use either the PayPal or put in a credit card. But don't let that stop anyone. If perhaps a company is going to cut a PO for you, contact us. Send an email to professionaldevelopment@northalabamapmi.org and explain your situation, and we can probably work with you to get you into the class.
Darrell, Ken, thank you so much for joining me today and further educating me.
Our pleasure.
Thank you.